Hey everybody, welcome back to the Law of Friends podcast, where we hang out and talk to your friends and ask them what inspires them, what scares them, and more. With you, your two hosts, William
and George.
And on today's episode, we got my boy that I met through work. We worked at Splash for a couple of years, and that is
TJ.
My boy TJ, man. I'm glad you're here, man. Glad you can come and be part of this.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, TJ. Yeah, like I said, it's nice of you to just, as we were talking earlier, for you to sort of conquer your fears of maybe stage fright, but baby steps,
Baby steps, indeed.
Yeah.
one day at a time.
For sure.
All right, with that, we're gonna roll our intro music. How you been? I haven't seen you in a long time.
I've been good, man. Just working a lot. Taking things one day at a time. Trying to get my head back in my music and just keep the focus on what it needs to be on. Like, remember why I started making music in the first place.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for those who don't know, me and TJ met at Splash. There's a lot of Splash people that's been on this podcast, but TJ's been he's been a really good friend of mine when I first started working there. And then, started going from there.
I was like, that's about to change pretty soon.
Huh?
That's
yeah. But anyways, before we get all started with everything, we usually talk about people's background and how it all started. If you want to go back.
well, I was born in Blytheville, Arkansas, and then I think we stayed there for 7 years. No. God bless it. I can't remember when we moved from Blytheville. But we had moved from Blytheville for personal reasons. I was 7 when we moved up here. Yeah. But for personal reasons. We moved up here to Dogwood Lakes, and then I went to Salem Elementary, and then in 4th grade we had moved to the other side. We moved to Benton, because that was technically, I guess, the Bryant area, because that's what district I was in. And so we moved to Benton, and then I've just been here ever since. I lived in Bismarck for a little bit with my wife's family while she was up there. That was nice. It was different. I've been in the city all my life, so living in the country was completely different. But it's cool, though. I had got to go on a boat for the first time. Still can't swim, but that's fine. But I'm real close to my mom. I'm pretty family oriented.
Are you the only child, or you got siblings?
Oh no, I have 5 sisters and 3 brothers.
Oh wow, that's a big family.
Yeah, fairly large family. My oldest 3 sisters, they're down here. But my other siblings and everything are either in different states or different cities.
So, after you graduated high school, what was your plan of life, or how old are you? I don't even.
So I'll be 30 this year. So I graduated in 2011, and originally I wanted to be an electrician. Somebody told me about it. I thought it was a good idea. I was originally gonna go to Votech school at some point after I graduated, and I started working at Walmart, and then I guess I procrastinated, if you will, because I had started in November and was going to leave in February, or around February or March, to go to the Votech school, and I just never did. And so I had worked at Walmart up until 2015. And then I left there because I decided I didn't want to do electrician anymore. I wanted to be an HVAC tech. And so I had the opportunity to do so and started at B.R. McGinney in March of 2015. But I had to start over in the construction plumbing side. And I really enjoyed that. I was in there for a month. But as soon as I got the opportunity to do HVAC, which is what I even signed up for, I jumped on it. And so the first day Literally, like it took me one day to realize I was like, can't do it, and try to go back, and they wouldn't let me go back. Um, and so
Back to the plumbing.
yeah, back to the plumbing.
Okay, yeah.
So I got stuck with that, and I tried to stick it out, and I was like, nah, I really, really can't deal with this. It was the just the intense heat and attics and stuff, fiberglass all the time, and I didn't feel like I really learned as much as I could have. You know what I mean? I typically just carried around the equipment and then helped put ductwork together. And so the one time they actually taught me something, which was how to wire a thermostat. I was super excited. I'm all like, yo, I'm gonna wire all the thermostats now. But I only got to do it that one time, so I was like, nah.
Oh, okay. So what? That self. I not self-esteem, but like the self-awareness of knowing I want to do this, and I know this is what I want to do. I know this is not what I want to do. Have you always been like that? Or is that something you have learned throughout the years to say no to some things? Because a lot of people, we just say yes to everything that's thrown our way.
I kind of, I want to say I guess I've always been this way. Um, just depending on, like I said, that fear and doubt of the unknown. I don't do well with that. And so even leaving to jump at the opportunity back in 2015 to do the HVAC work and everything, that was like a big deal for me. I was super nervous that day. But it ended up turning out fine. Like I said, I think everything would have been good if I just stayed in the construction plumbing side, because I did learn a lot over there, and the money was better and everything. So, but
Was it that's why you wanted to go back? Cause be like, yeah, man, the money's better over there.
it wasn't really like the money. I mean, the money played a part just because I'm a single income family. You know, like my
Right.
wife doesn't work. She has a lot of health problems and stuff. So, but like I said, I didn't like the environment I was in, and then like just everything to do with that. I was like, everything was better in the construction plumbing side. Like the people, the environment, the treatment, everything was a lot better on that side.
Okay.
So it was like same company but different.
When you say
bosses.
the treatment, would you say it was like more? If I guess we're being honest here, like more people being more mean to you because of your color.
I wouldn't say that necessarily. At least in this scenario, um, whenever I did leave that job, um, 3 short months later, we didn't necessarily end on good terms. Like the way they let me go, um, it could have been done better. It was totally unprofessional. But I digress. Um, but yeah.
So after you found yourself without a job, what was your next step? Now you have to provide for a family.
Right. So the crazy thing about that is, before I was let go from that job, I had already reapplied at Walmart, and I was getting things back into work with that. But things weren't solidified yet, so I definitely had my breakdown after I got let go and everything. I was like, man, just because my income stops don't mean the bills do.
Right.
So I called my wife immediately as I'm in the car, and I let her know what happened, and she just said, everything will be fine. You know what I mean? You've already been applying at Walmart and everything. We'll get this figured out. Like, and I'm just sitting there like, I don't know how you're not worried, but okay, I trusted that. And so that day, I think I went in and put a few more applications, and then I went back to Walmart, and I talked to them, let them know what happened and everything. And luckily, they gave me an interview that day, quote unquote, and they pushed everything forward. So I think I was only actually out of work for like a little less than a week, thank God.
Oh, nice.
So,
That's not too bad.
so yeah, I think it would have been a lot worse probably if
Yeah.
I didn't already have that going in the works.
Yeah. So, how did you end up deciding moving to the next chapter, knowing that you mentioned earlier, saying like uncertainty and doubt of fear what the future holds? What made you move forward from Walmart to the next step, or what was your next step?
So after working at Walmart for a while, so I went back to doing the same job I was doing before I left in the first place, and that was unloading trucks. And I wanted a chance for more income, of course, to provide better for my wife. And so after a couple years, I finally got the chance to move up in Walmart. Became a department manager over the front end and then the candy aisle. It was crazy.
Very important candy aisle, especially like
Yeah.
for Christmas,
Yeah.
Halloween,
So like pretty
Easter.
much like 80% of the year it was nuts.
Yeah, yeah.
But that didn't work out. I think I was department manager less than a year, and so I stepped back down, went to online grocery, and it took a lot of stress off me and everything. Like I took a little bit of a pay cut, but not a lot. Um, but it was a lot less stressful. I quote unquote enjoyed my job for what it was. Um, and then a good friend of mine, my best friend of like 20 years, he calls me. He said, "Yo, you should apply at this place called Splash, right?" Never heard of it, didn't know anything about it, so I'm just like, whatever. But he told me, the money's better, blah blah this and everything, and again, that fear of uncertainty was like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not making that much at Walmart right now, but you at least know what to expect, right? So I was just like, And so one day he calls me. It's like 9 o'clock at night. He said, "Yo, if you he said, have you applied yet?" And I'm all like, "Man, I was going to," but he like interrupted me mid sentence, and he was like, he sent me the link. He said, "Apply right now and call me back when you do." And I was like, God bless. And so I applied and called them back, let them know I did. They pushed my application through, and I started there. Originally, I was going to leave Walmart entirely, but they managed to talk me into working there part time, and that's when the 2 jobs began. So I did the whole 2 job things for about, from about 2017, up until like last year, 2021, and it really took a toll on me. I would start at like 4 in the morning
Yeah.
and be working up until 6 if I'm lucky, but sometimes I went to 7 or 8. And so I'd go home and, pretty much right after my shower, I immediately pass out. And so that really affected my time with my wife. And I was like, man, I really needed a change, but I was like, the money was so good, for what I was doing. And so that same friend who got me a Splash, he had got a job at Everett Ford, and so I think his first day there, he came back and let me know they had a job opening for lube tech at Everett, and he managed to talk me into going there, of course. Again, the fear of uncertainty, I almost let that get me, but I was like, no, I gotta try something new, and a big reason for that was because I was spending so much time away from home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think money is important per se, but family time and your relationships is definitely a lot more important. And if you had to give up one, I think the choice is easy.
When did that fear of like uncertainty started kicking in on you?
If we're being completely honest, I've been dealing with it all my life, man. I'm fairly good at basketball. No Michael Jordan, you know what I mean? But
No, definitely not. With all due respect.
Michael Jordan is better than LeBron James. Just saying. But I'm fairly good at basketball, and because of that fear and everything, I never played basketball in school or anything like that, because I'd play well when no one was watching, and then whenever I noticed there was like a lot of eyes on me, all of a sudden I couldn't play anymore. Like I really sucked. And so I was like, man, I wasn't gonna do that in public. So I guess it just kind of started from there, and just.
So ever since you were a kid, pretty much,
Since I was a kid, man, been dealing with it, but it's a work in progress. Like I said, I'm working on it.
Something that I've like kind of like caught, and something that you mentioned, like in a way, you said whenever you were head of department at the candy aisle in the front desk at Walmart, that job was too stressful, so you decided to take a pay cut and go to like the online groceries.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of like again, whenever you were doing Splash and this other job online, that sort of like took a toll on your family and your time, and then again you had like to take a pay cut. How important you would say it is to people to that money is it's not all about money, and how how that you at that moment you decided to choose your mental health over money, and then the second time you decided to you chose your life partner over financial benefits basically. So what's the like what what's something you can tell me or William or anyone else who may be listening that how you came to that decision?
Um, I mean, I prayed a lot on it, but it was just it made it. It was an eye opener, realizing the strain that it was putting on said relationships and everything. I think time with your significant others or your family members and everything is the most important thing, because that's just the one thing you can't get back. Money comes and goes. Material things come and go, but time with your loved ones, you can't get that back. And so I say always, I mean, if you ever had to choose between the two, it's an easy decision. Definitely choose, time with your loved ones, because you don't want to regret that. So,
What's something that throughout this past couple of years have motivated you to keep on going and not just settle for what's comfortable?
uh, whether she intends to or not, my wife, in any endeavor I've ever wanted to try, anything I've ever been involved in, hopes and dreams, you name it. She's always, pushed me to never give up. On my darkest days and everything, especially when it comes to music, she's always right there and encouraging me to don't give it up and don't focus on all the outside noise. And she's been a really, like, I thank God for her. She's been a very good constant in my life.
So going to the music thing for you, when did all that started for you?
So me and a good friend of mine were in the break room on break at Walmart back in 2017. And, we were talking about some personal issues that I was going through, and he just said, like, out of nowhere, he said, "Man, you should write music about this." And I was like, "No, so it's kind of crazy." I never thought about it, but then I started thinking about it more, and I was like, maybe I should. And I tried, and I really enjoy it. Whenever I don't, allow, like I said, the outside noise to get to me. Because whenever I was 13, I wrote my first, like, rhymes, if you will.
Yeah.
But it was the same stuff that you hear on the radio and everything. So
Right.
it didn't fit, because that wasn't who I am. So I was just like, trashed it. I still remember it, but I trashed it. I tried writing some more in, I want to say, junior high. Same type of stuff, and it just never really clicked. So whenever he brought up music, I was just like, it never really went well before. Why would it go well now, right? But it did.
You mentioned it didn't went well before, and now it did. How what was the change?
Like, so whenever I first started attempting to, write music and everything, or even write, rap verses or whatever, it was about the same stuff that you typically hear on the radio, money. It wasn't even about drugs, because like, I knew not to even, pretend about that, but it was like, money, women, blah, blah, this and everything. Just like, but it was so weird. Like, even writing it down, I knew it wasn't right,
It didn't feel right for you, like writing
not,
stuff
not
about
at all.
that. Yeah.
Not at all. Because even outside of music, I was like, that wasn't the type of person I was. So I felt like I was being fake, and I guess in the sense I was. But whenever I started writing music in 2017, writing about things that I actually care about, or that pertain to me, it flowed a lot better. It was received better. Like,
Put your mic a little bit closer to you.
oh, sorry.
It was received better by who?
Just people in general. I'd started putting out, like, small, recorded videos or anything. I didn't have any equipment at the time, but I had put out these small videos and everything, and people really liked them. So I was just like, it was a big confidence booster, and so I continued on throughout the year. I made my first short EP titled Unspoken, and half of it is on like Spotify and iTunes and everything, and then the other half is just like on YouTube and everything. And that's because I was trying to figure out like, am I gonna do a full blown album for my first project, or an EP, or a demo? And I was hearing like all these mixed things from different people on what I should do, and so I was like, all right, I'm gonna do a free demo. So any beat and everything I looked up on YouTube, I just got the free version of it since it was just gonna be a free demo anyway. And then halfway through that, I was like, maybe I should put it on Spotify and everything. And a local artist that I come across, he lives in Kentucky. He told me about this service called DistroKid. It's a distribution service, and so I got that, and that's how I learned, about that aspect of music, about getting your music into the stores online and everything. And so, like I said, halfway through it, I decided, and so the other half was purchased beats, and the other half was free beats. So that's why only half is on the online stores and whatnot.
And are you still making music right now, or you just?
So I made a song last year. Um, I feel like it took a lot out of me, quote unquote, because like I said, the past 4 or 5 years I've been dealing with that doubt about worrying about what everybody else is doing, or I don't rap like this, or I don't rap about this. They're not gonna want to hear, sappy emotional stuff, if you will. But I mean, there's a niche for everything, so there are absolutely people out there like that who will want to listen to what I have to say and everything, and so.
What are you most passionate about sharing with your music?
Just being authentic. I wanna talk about things that people typically don't talk about. You know what I mean? You don't typically hear about people rapping about suicidal awareness, or sexual assault, or even God in a positive light. You know what I mean? Typically when people mention God, it's followed by trash, if you will.
Yeah.
It's just not good. It doesn't paint them in a good light.
And all of does this resonate with you? Suicidal, sexual assault, and all that stuff.
So me personally, you know what I mean? I've never dealt with suicidal thoughts or anything, but I've come to know people who have, and then after speaking with my wife, I've learned a lot from her. You know what I mean? Because she has, anxiety and depression and everything. So through her, I was able to really learn like a significant amount about these topics and everything. So it hits a lot different. You know what I mean? Especially to know that some things, that happened so long ago can still very much affect you in today's life. So I guess in a sense, like, it indirectly affects me, yeah. So it resonates with me that way.
Oh, right, yeah. I was like, 'cause if you're writing about it, it's because it has had some sort of impact in your life.
Absolutely. And then it's always heartbreaking whenever you find out someone ends their life. So I just kind of, like, I would, the glory doesn't have to go to me, but, I would just love for someone to, hear my music and maybe think twice about doing something like that.
Yeah, because nowadays that's a topic that not many people talk about, and just she writing music about it or saying something about it, pretty good,
Yeah. Or I also have an issue with rappers who they'll like dabble in a good message, like they'll put out a good message song and then go right back to the same, stuff you hear on the radio. And I don't like that. I don't feel like that's being quote unquote authentic. Like, I appreciate their effort, you know what I mean? But I feel it takes more than just, all right, I'm gonna do one song on this topic, you know what I mean, and then just go back to the typical.
Whenever you already mentioned that authentic and the authenticity, and I think what sometimes we use that word just to like sort of like describe ourselves. When someone is describing you, and whenever you're rapping about a certain topic, what is authentic and distinguishes you? Although we already like kind of mentioned, is there something that people like when they're hearing someone spitting bars, they say, "Oh yeah, I know who that rapper is." Obviously, that being you, what would they distinguish that about you just been different from everyone else?
Just clean, like music you can play around your kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, just different, very very different. Like I listen to Christian rap and stuff now, and so that's so I know there's a whole genre and niche for that. Um, but yeah, just as far as like a lot of people I know that haven't heard Christian rap or really dove into it, and I've spent a long time now listening to Christian rap, so it's a really big deal for me.
Is there like a end goal for this per se?
Um, I like I said, I eventually want to make a living off of it. I think it would be beneficial, not just financially. I think it would be beneficial. I'd be able to stay at home with my wife. You know what I mean? I can make a living there instead of having to leave her every day and worry about her health problems and stuff at home, or be like, oh, you know what I mean? My job, I gotta tell my job, hey, I gotta go home and take care of this or blah blah this and everything, or things of that nature. So I think that is definitely an end goal.
Is there like a plan to take it to the next level?
It's all a learning process. There's there's more to doing music as a career than I like. There's more to learn than I could ever describe, than I ever even imagined. You know what I mean? I guess I, in a sense, thought that people just they rap, put out music, that's that.
Yeah.
But no, there's a lot that goes into it, and it's got a really steep learning curve, and I'm still learning the business side of it. So
I gotcha.
So you've been doing it since 2017, you said?
I would say, like, as a whole, yes, but technically, like, if we're counting like consistently, maybe a couple of years. Like I said, I just I guess took a few years off to, in a sense, get my head straight, and I didn't want to start rapping again for the wrong reasons, you know.
All right. What's your artist name? Do you,
Unity. So it's Y0UNity. And so I came up with that. So around the time I, decided that I wanted to do this, I think it was during the political debate of Trump versus whoever. So there was a lot of division going on at the time, and I mean there still is. But I was just like, man, I don't like division. I don't like division at all. The world uses any and everything it can to divide us, and we fall for it.
Right.
We fall for it hard. And so I was like, unity's perfect.
I was gonna say, what does your wife think of all this? But obviously, that's kind of like a redundant question because she keeps supporting you in every way that she can. So I don't.
Yeah. Like I said, she supports it. She's never tried to talk me out of it. She never tried to talk me out of anything. You know what I mean? We'll sit at night and beat shop and everything on YouTube, and she'll help me out. She actually designed my very first hoodie.
Okay.
But yeah, and it came out wonderful.
So where'd you meet this wonderful, supportive wife of yours?
Here we go. So officially we tell people that we met at the Hot Springs Mall, but we actually, believe it or not, met online. Crazy enough. So
The
if
Hot
anybody,
Springs Mall.
yeah,
That mall is so small.
but yeah, man, we met online, and
So what?
started,
OG sliding into the DMs or what?
I guess something like that, if you will. But yeah, man, we met online. We had talked for almost a year before we ever even got to meet in person. So like the feelings were already there.
Oh, wow.
So I mean, it was pretty smooth.
So
Whenever
like, who friend requested who first?
I sent her the first message.
Okay.
I sent her the first message for sure.
How was that, talking to like a person for like a whole year without meeting them? Like,
It
real
was
love.
hard, but I think even from day one, she was different from anybody I've ever even talked to. I mean, from the way she talks, I mean, I think at that time when we first met and everything, I was still talking and slang and everything, and she didn't like that at all.
Would you
And
go,
so,
what's up, shawty?
and so, and looking back at it, I was like, man, I didn't like it either. So how Facebook has those memories and everything.
Yeah.
So whenever I deleted most of them, but man, I'll look back on some memories of posts I posted. And I'm just like, it's super cringe, super cringe.
I think
How I used to
everyone
talk.
has that, even me on social media. I think it, but it's good to look back and sort of like laugh at yourself and
Oh,
see
yeah.
the growth that you have done throughout the years. Kind of going back to the topic, were you scared of getting catfished?
Not really, honestly, not really.
Because there was like no FaceTime back there, no Snapchat to
Right,
like
right.
double check or anything like that.
I guess I just wasn't like, man, we had spent so long talking and everything. Not saying that people who do get catfished, they didn't spend a long time talking either. But man, I don't know. I was just really confident everything was gonna be good. I was more so worried that whenever she saw me in person and everything, that it wasn't gonna go as well. And so there's actually a little small funny story with that. So like we meet, right? I introduced her to my friends, and so we go walking around, right? I'm all like, yo, we should go to the game store. And I caught her rolling her eyes. I'm all like, yeah, that's it. I was like, we're done. Like, she ain't feeling me no more. But come to find out, she rolled her eyes because she don't like going to gaming stores because the dudes in there, they act like they never seen a woman before. So
Oh, okay.
I was just like, man. But like, we still laugh about that to this day. So maybe she was worried she was gonna get catfished. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know, because nowadays the internet's a interesting place.
Very much
It's a
so.
scary place.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Glad I ain't got to go through that no more.
Especially like to find love.
Yeah.
They would
Wait,
have to bring Neve from
huh?
Cat. I said they would have to bring Neve from
Yeah, we have to
Catfish.
call Neve from Catfish.
That dude was wild.
Talking to this person online, virtually online, and your feelings start to grow to a point like you do catch true feelings for this person. Were there any doubts like, man, am I investing my time correctly into this? Obviously, it worked out, but
Right.
being the person you tell me who you are, there's a lot of doubts and insecurities about the future and trying new things. I'm sure. What were you thinking?
I had my doubts in the sense, I guess, not necessarily just not because of her, just I guess because of like past relationships and everything. And so we'd occasionally, more often than not, ask each other, yo, is this really what you want? Like, we good here? That kind of thing. Before her, I never had a relationship make it past a year, and so whenever we got together officially, and a year was coming up, I'm all like, all right, man, something's about to hit the fan. I'm just kind of waiting on it, and nothing ever did. We've been together officially since 2012, and we got married in 2015, and we've been married ever since. So I say it's going very well.
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt. I was gonna say something else too, but I forgot.
You'll remember.
Yeah, hopefully.
Throughout your life and everything, what is something that life has taught you recently?
God always has my back. Like, no matter what. He's more than proven that throughout my entire life. So when I was younger, back when we lived in Blyville, I would go meet my mom at her job. She worked at Sonic at the time. And I would go sit in this one chair in the building, wait until she got off, right? And so one day I was late. Like, my grandma was late dropping me off or whatever happened. And a person ended up driving through Sonic and hit my mom. And she was sitting in the spot that I typically sit in. And she's okay, by the way. Like, she has a leg injury, but, she's very much alive. I just thought I'd throw it out there.
I thought you were gonna say she lost the foot. She used to
Right.
be 5'5", now she's 5'4". No, I'm just kidding.
But no, so she's okay. But I know that had that been me sitting there, I definitely wouldn't have been here today. There's just no way. Um, but just, I mean, from times of financial stress, I mean, there be times where money just appears in our bank account, and it's un, unexplainable, you know.
Yeah, that's
But
not bad, is it?
no, not at all.
So
But
we ain't complaining about that.
not at all. But I mean, in every aspect of my life, God's always been there. You know what I mean? And I got saved at an early age, but I didn't start taking my walks seriously until about roughly 7 or 8 years later. And I don't think that's necessarily any fault of the church I was going to. It may have just been me. You know what I mean? But I take my walk very seriously now. And that fear that y'all know so well about now that I have, used to really stop me from talking to people about Christ and everything. And I don't really have that fear anymore. At least it's not as strong. So I've been really working on that and trying to bring others to Christ too.
As moving forward, what are you looking forward to the future? What's your big plan? What's your big Mount Everest that you want to climb in your life?
I really want to jump head first back into this music and give it my all and just really see how far I can go with it. And I really hope I can change some lives with it. Do what I feel I was called to do.
Is there anything that's stopping you at the moment for you to go 1,000% in?
I think, well, I guess finances, they play a part other than, you know, the whole fear aspect. I don't know if people who don't do music realize how expensive it can be. I'll break it down for you real fast. So you can get a cheap beat off YouTube. You can lease it for, $30, right? Then if you don't have your own studio equipment, you have to go record. So that's another, 50 to 100. And then you have to get it mixed and mastered if you don't know how to do that as well. That's another 50 to 100. So just to make one song can cost you well over, $100 to $200. And then to not see an immediate return from that is kind of, it's
Oh yeah, we know what you're talking about.
but I think it would be weird for me not to think that every artist has gone through that. No one starts out, with the big fan base and, making all the money and everything and just reaching all these places. I think it takes consistency and hard work and believing in yourself when nobody else does.
One thing that has impacted me here lately, and I'm not saying you should do this, or not that I would do this, or not to that point. I think I would certainly risk something.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if you have had the time to watch the movie 14 Peaks on Netflix.
You said 14 Picks?
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
It's a really great documentary of this guy from Nepal. He's a mountaineer. He wants to be the first person to climb the 14 highest peaks in the world in 7 months. It's done before, but during a time period of 16 years. So something that's been done before in 16 years, he wants to do it in 7th month. He goes and pitches his idea, or gives his idea to a bunch of top of the companies, but he just keeps getting rejected. He keeps getting rejected. He believed so much in himself and in the idea of what he needed to do to accomplish that he refinanced his whole house just to get this mission started.
Really?
So sometimes I think, and obviously I also watch Going Back to Space Again with Elon Musk on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
And just the fact that they had to fail at least 6 times before their rockets exploded, at least 6 times before they ever had a successful launch.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, as someone who can relate to you in a way that we're also starting up, how much am I willing to put my neck on the line to make this work?
Yes.
So it's definitely something, for anyone entrepreneur out there who wants to follow their dream. It's not going to be easy, and you do have to put your neck on the line to the point it's either drown or survive,
Yes.
So
sink or swim, baby.
Yeah, sink or swim. That's what I was trying to say. Thank you, William. But yeah, I mean, just sort of like a word of encouragement, something that has impacted me in my life in the past couple couple of days, couple of weeks is something I have to think about. Am I willing to sell my car just to keep this dream alive?
Right.
And it doesn't necessarily have to mean that I'm gonna refinance my house, but are you willing to just take the bus instead of um, being able to drive? So
Right.
that's the little steps that makes you think about life. Like how much are you willing to invest in for you to live the dream that you want to live? Because a lot of us, I feel like we want to live extraordinary lives without doing the extra.
Yep.
We just do the ordinary and without trying to do the 2 or 3 miles ahead. That
Right.
we should put in the work. So no, that's something to think about, and just encourage you, I guess, in your music dream and pursuit, because you never know. Someone may listen to it, and it may impact their lives, and
Right.
that someone may be the son of a founding musician who has a whole music empire, and then like, hey, let's sign this guy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I agree 100%. 100%.
Possibly got the next better NF in the house,
Dog, I don't know about that, man. NF is crazy.
Yeah, and if it's pretty good.
But
But if you believe you're better, then who are we to tell you you're not?
fair. It'd be cool to work with him one day.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of artists I want to work with.
So what's something that you want to share to the people that, words of encouragement and wisdom through your 29 years of age in this beautiful place we call Earth?
I would say, man, like don't be afraid to chase your dreams. Don't let anyone talk you out of that. It doesn't matter who believes in you. It doesn't matter if you're the only one that believes in you. Believe in yourself. That at the end of the day, that is the most important thing, because you can have the entire world believe in you, but if you don't believe in you, it's not gonna work out. But chase your dreams. Like go as far as you need to go, and go as hard as you need to go. And that's me speaking to myself too.
Yeah, for sure. Has there ever been a time where you wanted to give up?
Yeah, actually, there has. In this 3 to 4 year time I spent away from music, that thoughts crossed my mind more than once. I was just like, man, I began to question, does God even really want me doing this? You know what I mean? I was like, is this really what I'm supposed to do with my life? And then I mean, literally, like, after having that thought, the next day, somebody out of nowhere would be like, hey, man, are you still doing music? Or, man, I love your music, blah, blah, this and everything. Like, real talk, like, out of nowhere. And
Really?
and that could be, I mean, a lot of time in between. But just like I said, like, it never fails. Like, I question myself, and then some sign, like an in-your-face sign like that happens. And it's hard to deny that. So.
Yeah, for sure.
What's something or someone that like has inspired you throughout your whole life? That have really impacted you and they shaped the person you are today.
I mean, I'd have to say my mom. You know what I mean? I get a lot of my everything from her. You know what I mean? Just, she's always been there, from forever. Like, from the health problems I used to have, I remember her having to stop, leave her job to come get me from school because I was having, health issues or something. And then I'd go back to her job and sit in her little office and just chill till she got off. I mean, she's always been there, super constant. But, yeah. So it's like, for me, it's like different aspects of life that people that I look up to. Like, for life, my mom.
Yeah.
For music, NF. Like, NF is dope. Like, it's weird when you see someone come out of the woodworks who raps in a similar fashion, per se. Like, I'm not saying we rap about the exact same thing, but I think we can all agree that NF is not your typical mainstream rapper.
Right,
So, yeah. But yeah, like I said, in all aspects, I just have different people that I look up to.
So what's something you identify with that, something that really resonates with you?
Like as far as music goes?
Anything.
Oh, just anything. I don't know, man. I guess just anything Christ centered, God centered. Just that really resonates with me. I attempt. I don't always succeed, but I attempt to put Him in everything that I do, and I believe everything that we do should, reflect around that. Try and be the most authentic Christian that I can be. Um, yeah.
So earlier today you said you got saved as you were a little kid, right?
Mhm.
But then really didn't start taking your like faith seriously until like a couple years ago.
Right. So
When did that like really start going?
So whenever I got saved, I actually got saved in my living room. My church pastor had come there, and him and his wife, and they had talked to me about it, and you know, and so I got saved. But as we were praying, and like I said, I don't think it's necessarily their fault. I think maybe it was a combination of my age or whatever it was. But as I was praying the prayer, I was like, yo, is this legit? Not questioning is God real, but I was like, am I really being saved? 'Cause I guess at that age, I didn't really understand per se how it worked. You know what I mean? Um, and so whenever I stopped going to that church, 'cause I went to that church for 7 years, and then I went to this new church, and things were different there, and I'm all like, yo, it's kind of weird, but it was a lot smaller church, but they really impacted my life. I met a lot of good people there that I'm still friends with today. I don't go to the church anymore, but I still consider them my family. But I learned a lot from them. Like I said, it was a lot smaller church, so like it just blew my mind because they were so different, like and how they operate and everything, and so.
No, I know you've been a long time supporter of the podcast, and we appreciate you for supporting us and following us and listening and just everything that you've since we started. I really appreciate you.
I think it's dope what y'all are doing.
I think it's cool, like bring on people who also like not only follow us but like also are pursuing their dreams, for them to also give them a spotlight and a platform for them to share what they're doing and how do they overcome their insecurities, kind of like you shared yours, that your insecurities, but you don't let that stop you from chasing your ultimate dream and your dreams for sure.
Right.
So yeah, thank you so much for that, for your time, for your time, your effort, and just for being here with us today and
Thank y'all for having me.
and supporting us for sure. Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on. I would ask what motivates and what you're afraid of, but I feel like we've kind of talked a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's what we usually typically ask, like when we're about to end or something. Because that's what we like to do at the end, just ask what motivates them. But I feel like we've covered that. But what's like some words of like encouragement words you can say, or to someone that's out there listening to this?
Just never give up on yourself, ever. Just don't do it.
Absolutely, yeah. Never giving up on yourself, because at the end of the day, I think you said this earlier. If there's one thing we don't ever get back, is our time.
Exactly.
So at the end of the day, whenever we're 90, 95, and we're laying in our beds thinking, "Oh, I wish I could have done this when I was younger."
Mhm.
Your younger today is today.
Yep.
Your youngest version of yourself is today. So, gotta start somewhere, and kind of like block out the haters, the outside noise. I know that's something sort of like stopped you before, but now you have learned just to like focus on your craft, and I think that's super important. As we also try to not replicate what other people are doing. Sure, maybe try some of their tactics, but be authentic to who we are and just what makes us us, and not a copy of someone else.
Right. And that's something I had to learn. I was just telling my wife the other night how for the first time in years I can think of my music and it is a dream again. But because before that, with all the doubt and worried about this and that, I looked at it almost like a chore, and I think that was like a big part of why I thought about it or even questioned giving it up. But it's a dream again, and so it's definitely what I'm supposed to do. and I'm gonna give it everything I got. And
Oh,
hope
For
for the
sure,
best.
like, keep on going, it, bro. Don't stop. Anything that's stopping you is just yourself, you know. Just
Oh, yeah,
keep on
100%.
following your dream. That's what it's all about.
Well, thank you very much for coming, and I really appreciate you. Where's the best place someone can find your music and find you or reach out to you if they ever want to pursue that path to have music and just sort of like writing and all that stuff?
They can reach me on Facebook but my music is pretty much in all the stores. Haven't made it on Pandora yet, but one day.
Yeah. What?
But,
Where when someone
Spotify, iTunes.
how can we search you up and look you up? I guess that's
Just look up Unity, Y0UNity.
okay. And on Facebook, what's
Same thing.
Okay, cool.
Same thing.
Well, TJ, appreciate you coming on, and just it was fun getting to know a little bit more about you and your work, your music, and everything that you do, man.
Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you guys listening. If you guys want to catch this episode, you can catch us on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcast. I mean, not Apple Music, my bad.
Apple Podcast.
Apple Podcast. Google Podcast, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. Anything else I'm missing?
No, I think that's about it.
Think that's-
Instagram.
And Instagram, Wall of Friends Podcast. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you have a good week. And don't forget to share a smile.
Yeah, share a smile because you never know, that may lead to a deeper connection with either people that you know or with a stranger.
Amen.
See ya.